There's the grid. Dennis Toome and Leroy Poulter at the front. Dominic Kryhammer on row 2 for Intrepid Force Rotax. Haven't mentioned Mike Barton, the young teenager from Holland. Both teenagers, incidentally, on row 2. Mike Barton and Dodo Kryhammer. Row 3, Severin Japanic and the very busy Christoph Adams. Now with Cristiano Magardo's withdrawal, Chris Adams, the only driver, doubling up. You see Cristiano Magardo's name on our caption on row 4, but he will not take up his place in this race. I can tell you that he's an interested spectator just down below us on the gallery. Looking there at the 10th row, Dennis Ladfoged lives in Denmark. It's a long way to travel to most of the Euro Challenge rounds, but Dennis Ladfoged only ever missed one of the 18. That was at Braga in 2004. He's been to all the rest. Pedro Loures on row 14, another driver who's never missed a round. The Portuguese driver Pedro Loures never missed a round, but I tell you what, had some rotten luck in this one. Row 11, the only lady driver, 642, Tamsin Germain, driving for DG Racing, the sister of Tiffany Chittenden, the winner of the Mojo Cup race earlier today. This is the DD2 pre-final. And we get away to a clean start. Well, that was nice and easy for Dennis Toome, because Leroy Poulter in second place, or rather on the outside of the front row, decided not to contest that too hard. I think there was perhaps the recollection of various comings together in his mind, but he's showing strongly in second place just now. 632 is out. Oh, that's Mark Landwehr. Everything has gone wrong for Mark Landwehr. He's making his Rotax Euro Challenge debut. A German driving here in Germany, but it's gone wrong for Mark Landwehr more than once this weekend, and it's gone wrong for him in the pre-final. Well, it's a good dice at the front. Oh, and Leroy Poulter loses second place to Mike Barton. Mike Barton, the much less experienced driver from Holland, driving, I think, the Cosmic chassis, isn't he? Kart number 6. Oh, excuse me, no, he's not. He's driving the Zanardi. Sorry about that. And Leroy Poulter fights back, but no, it's a good drive. Mike Barton in second place, still holding it, but Poulter goes back into second. Poulter back into second place. It's a good battle, isn't it? Really is. We've got the yellow flags being shown now at Marshall Point 4. Not quite sure what that's protecting, because I can't see any obstruction on the circuit. But we now get the green flag, and coming down towards us, we see the race leader, Dennis Toome, Mike Barton and Leroy Poulter having their good dice. Severin Japanic is kart number 615. Wesley Orr is kart number 629. Wesley Orr, who is a very, very top driver. And I'm getting a message that kart number 632 is in trouble. Yep, that's Mark Landwehr. Goes off completely. He's right at the back of the race. The German who already had a problem. Dennis Toome, Leroy Poulter and Mike Barton. Are you 1, 2, 3? Now Wesley Orr and Severin Japanic. Oh, and Wesley Orr goes off the circuit at the top of the hill. That's the double Rotax world champion, Wesley Orr, who's had not a little bit of trouble at that bend in this race event. Well, good for Wesley Orr. He was in a real mess there, but he's shown tremendous sporting instinct to try to get back into the machine. The good news for Wesley is that he's going again in kart 629. The bad news is that he's now stone last and going to struggle to score championship points. Well, not quite stone last, but hey, a long way behind. Well, one of our potential front runners taken out, and a black flag for Wesley Orr. Well, not only has Wesley Orr gone off the circuit in that incident, he has been assessed as worthy of exclusion. So not only does Wesley Orr start at the back of us, continue at the back, and in fact the black flag has been taken in before Wesley Orr comes. And there is Wesley Orr going past the start line, but the black flag was not shown to him. Now, whether that means he's not been excluded, no, the black flag does come out and Wesley Orr will not continue. That was all the drama at the back. Let's try and pick up the pieces at the front, because we've got a really good dice at the front. 645 is Dennis Toome, 604 is Leroy Poulter. They're on the back straight. Dennis Toome, the local hero, makes a nice smooth sweep, comes underneath the kart care gantry. Leroy Poulter follows him. Fastest lap to Leroy Poulter in 50.90, 50.926 if you want to be really pedantic. and he's the only driver under 51 seconds. In fact, the race leader's best time is 51.35, so Leroy Poulter significantly quicker than the driver in front of him. But of course, as well as going fast, you've got to get your nose in front. And Dennis Toom in shot there from Leroy Poulter, the Wildcard Racing team. You saw at the start of the race the wildcard graphic on his driving wheel. But Leroy Poulter tracking him down the Serpentine. The right-hand hairpin takes us onto the back straight. That nice television shot that we have looking over towards the start line and the spectators on the extended gallery beneath the race control tower. So 11 laps remaining of this 16, and Leroy Poulter looking for a big wide sweep going up the hill, and has got it. Leroy Poulter has measured that move and has executed a wonderful racing move. Let me explain what happened if you didn't see it. Leroy Poulter at turn 1 decided to go really wide. Oh, we've got problems again at the top of the hairpin. Leroy Poulter went really, really wide, carried the extra speed up the hill, and that enabled him to make the move that went in front. Well, car number 625 you see there is Raivo Luce, the Latvian driver who was in trouble earlier on. 622 is Karsten Muller. They were further back in the grid, but they're going to be even further back now. But Leroy Poulter with a really, really experienced race driver's move, the sort of thing that you can do in the karts on the circuit, making the full use of the width of the circuit. He takes the lead, and hey, he's already got half a second. Bas Kaligis, the photographer, in shot there. Leroy Poulter leads Dennis Toom and Mike Barton. Dom Kryhammer in 4th place. Dennis Kroes, who's been having a bad event so far, in 9th place now. So Dennis Kroes for Euro Indoor Karting Racing Team will be pleased with that. Tamsin Germain, the only lady driver in kart 642. She's running in 16th place. That's not too bad. Dennis Ladfoged will be disappointed. So will his father Hans, speaking to him today, and his mum I saw earlier on, Christina I think his mum's name. But in the meantime, let me have a look away from my television screen, just onto the circuit. Here comes the race leaders. Leroy Poulter crosses the line now while we get that lovely shot over the mound on the back straight. I do like that shot. Have to commend our television director. But there is your race leader, Leroy Poulter. Leroy Poulter into the complex towards the middle of the field. It's on the infield, moving away round a serpentine hairpin. Now, I mustn't use that word. Really, it's more a long S's than a serpentine. Mike Barton goes the fastest lap, 50.83. So Mike Barton, 50.826, goes fastest as we approach the half race distance. Mike Barton, very, very pleasant young lad. He's always got a smile for you, always willing to have a chat. Remember him in Rotax Junior at the start of this series. When he moved into DD2, I thought, gosh, Mike, are you going to be competitive against the likes of Leroy Poulter? Well, the answer is yes, he is. However, Leroy Poulter continues to lead from Dennis Toom, Mike Barton 3rd, Dominic Kryhammer 4th, Christoph Adams in 6th place behind Severin Jepanik. Well, just looking a little bit further down, Tamsin Germain in 12th place now, so the lady driver climbs into 12th place. The Flying Scotsman, Robert Gilmore, in 11th place. Well, Robert Gilmore in kart number 650 had the mother and father of a crash yesterday with Cristiano Magado. The kart was a write-off. There's been something of a rebuild, and he was given a waiver, and there you see a passing move, 645. Dennis Toom losing 2nd place, is it, to Mike Barton, certainly being challenged for it, and Mike Barton not quite able to get past. Well, as I was saying, the Flying Scotsman, Robert Gilmore, so pleased to see him out. Cristiano Magado basically unhurt, but a little bit shaken and not racing after that collision. But Robert Gilmore doing so and getting himself into 11th place at the moment. Well, Mike Barton served notice on Dennis Toom that he would like to take that 2nd place off him, but just at the moment there's not an immediate challenge imminent. Leroy Poulter comes onto the return home straight. Mike Barton is kart number 617. There you see the dice I'm talking about. We're going into the left-hand hairpin that leads to the Serpentine. Opportunities to pass as we go into the right-hander on the back straight, but Mike Barton not in a position to make a challenge. Dennis Hume defends. Mike Barton in third place as they take the fast right-hand sweep to complete another lap. There are 6 laps remaining in this, the Rotax DD2 pre-final. 645 in shot, Dennis Toome, 617 in shot, Mike Barton. Dennis Toome I don't know really so well as Mike Barton. Mike has raced with us on and off throughout the entirety of this series and has matured a lot as a racer, and really good guy. But hey, we're talking racing, aren't we? And he's putting the pressure on Dennis Toome now. Dennis Toome is the driver in 645, feeling the heat from the driver in kart number 617. Mike Barton of Holland, Dennis Toome of Germany. They're behind Leroy Poulter, the race leader, and they're having a good dice down the Serpentine. The right-hand hairpin now takes them onto the back straight. There's that familiar sight that you know now. Mike Barton looks over his right shoulder, over the mound, and coming back to complete another lap. So Leroy Poulter's lead over Dennis Toome is 1.775 seconds. So Leroy Poulter in a comfortable position. Dominic Kryhammer holding a safe 4th place. Severin Zizipanik in 5th place. Christoph Adams, the very busy Christoph Adams, completing the top 6. Sandor Berving in 10th place in the top 10. A Dutchman I know nothing about is making his Rotax Euro Challenge debut. I asked him for a driver's profile. Didn't give me one, so I don't know much about him. Pat Pierce, 13th place. Well, Pat Pierce has had problems. He also took a crash yesterday in kart 614, but manages to race in the pre-final. Lothar Vinzen will be disappointed to be right down in 20th place. He likes to think of himself now as a top 10 driver, Lothar Vinzen of Switzerland. Well, Leroy Poulter completes yet another lap, and his lead over Dennis Toome is now 2.0 seconds. So Leroy Poulter at the top of the hill leads Dennis Toome, Mike Barton, and you see again the gap there, and you see how that has extended over the last couple of laps. Leroy Poulter has set the fastest lap of 50.500. Well, when you're at the front of the race and you set the fastest lap, the likelihood is that you're pulling away from the rest of the field. Mike Barton and Dennis Toome, however, far, far closer. Just the blink of an eye, if that, separating Dennis Toome kart 645 from Mike Barton kart 617. And a lot of their good dicing we've been able to pick up for you to watch in this television coverage. Now, piece of passing there that we were not particularly anticipating, but I think that is Bela Gigeli involved in that one. The driver from Germany making his debut. The new caption going up confirms that with 3 laps to go, the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 were as they were previously. The passing move you saw moments ago, I believe to be in the next section. And there, Bela Gigeli in 7th place, taking a place off Dennis Kroes, I believe that was. Or it may have been Dennis Kroes going past Sandor Berving, thinking about it. But hey, Rob Gilmore still in 11th place, and the lady of the class, Tamsin Germain, still in 12th place. Tamsin Germain does very well in the domestic scene in DD2s in Britain, as does her sister Tiffany Chittenden, but she's found it difficult going in this class, it would have to be said. Tamsin Germain, very nice lady, got married last year, but the form that we know she's capable of hasn't quite been reproduced here. So, late in the race, very late in the race, because Leroy Poulter, his lead over Dennis Toome increased even further to 2.378 seconds. There you see a nice shot of him. The first ever Rotax World number 2. In the Rotax World Challenge final, the first World final was in Puerto Rico, won by one of the Cronje brothers, I think it was Gavin Cronje. And second was Leroy Poulter. That was back in the year 2000. Since then, Leroy Poulter moved into car racing, but never forgotten his roots and managing to keep himself in touch with the kart racing scene. Dennis Toome and Mike Barton, maybe that half a second between them is sufficient to put it safe, but as I speak, no, Mike Barton puts the pressure on. Leroy Poulter continues to lead. Our shots do show you that they are having a good dice. I'm very torn between looking at my television screen monitor and looking out the window of this panoramic commentary tower here at Racelands Wackersdorf. Dominic Kryhammer that you see in shot in kart number 618. I was talking to him earlier today. He races GT3 cars, raced recently at Monza, Italy, and Silverstone in the United Kingdom, but not too proud to come back to Rotax kart racing. Mike Barton in cart number 617. Got himself a bit in front of Dennis Toome, hasn't he? Yes, Mike Barton. No, he hasn't. No, he hasn't. No, he hasn't. So Leroy Poulter takes the victory. In second place is cart number 645, which is Dennis Toome. In third place is Mike Barton, 617. Fourth is Dominic Kryhammer. Fifth, Severin Jepanik. Sixth is Christoph Adams. Seventh is Bela Jigai. Eighth is Sandor Burvink on his Rotax debut. Ninth is Dennis Kroes, and completing the top 10 is the Flying Scotsman Robert Gilmore, coming back from his heavy collision yesterday for a top 10 finish in the DD2 pre-final. Well, Leroy Poulter always races in that Birel racing suit. Oh, there's cart number 625, which belongs to Raivo Luce. And I have to tell you, that sad sight is a repetition, because earlier in the race meeting, in the heats, Raivo Luce found himself, he was one of three drivers involved in the collision that caused the damage to Cristiano Magado and Robert Gilmore, but Raivo Luce was the one that didn't need medical attention, not trying to infer any blame anywhere. It was just one of those unfortunate racing incidents, but it's not been Raivo Luce's day, has it? There you see the PDB racing suit just behind our caption. Confirmation then of the 1, 2, 3, Leroy Poulter, Dennis Toome and Mike Barton. Good drive on his debut by Sander Burvink, as I said in race commentary. Likewise, Bela Jigai. Bela is German, Sander is Dutch. Flying Scotsman was 10th. Robert Gilmore comes from Lanark, near the Lark Hall race circuit. The lady of the class, Tamsin Germain, came home 12th. Patrick Pearce, who started racing in the Rotax Euro Challenge when he and his mum and dad, Rob and Kath, were having a holiday in Holland. They happened upon the Eindhoven track where one of our rounds was being raced. They just happened to have their cart with them, and Pat Pearce took part. Only ever missed one round since then. Danny Brand, Dutchman, finishing 15th. Good to see Swiss drivers with us. Yannick Eichlimann finishing in 17th place. Well, the drivers on screen now, I'm afraid they've got some hard luck stories to tell. Manny Scheibinger, who didn't complete the race at the bottom of the screen, it was his birthday yesterday, and he went well yesterday. But the day after your birthday, maybe you're not so fortunate. Manny Scheibinger classified 27th.